Well, hello. Bon dia to you all. Good day to everyone. Now, today, I wanted to talk about uncertainties, and actually, I'm also going to be interviewing someone very special, but I'll come back to that in a bit. So, as things are starting to go back to normal at the beginning of the year, we started to recoup, or we want to recoup from COVID. Then the war in Ukraine, has an impact on our global economy. The pandemic related also is still disrupting everything. And there are bottlenecks of global supply chains that is slowing down the economic activities. And due to the great resignations, the businesses and the companies, they are with their hands on top of their heads, trying to make sure that they engage and retain talents within their companies. And then in addition, there is also disruption on gas supplies. And it is tough, and it might increase risk of recession. Now, all this brings a lot of uncertainties in our lives. And we as humans, we might respond the following. We fight, we flight, or we freeze. And with all these different uncertainties, I want to have an honest and open conversation with Cheryl, whom I call my friend, a colleague, and my sounding board from overseas. Now, Cheryl Storey is a registered psychotherapist in Canada and is an international life coach specializing in helping women and sometimes men of all ages and professional in all stripes who actually may be seeking support to deal better with panic attacks, anxiety, and burnout. Now, I met Cheryl through a Mind Valley Challenge online at the beginning of the year. And I am delighted that we connected with each other and that we share and we exchange thoughts with each other and on different topics and ideas. Now, Cheryl, welcome. Welcome to this interview. Would you like to add anything else in your intro?
First of all, thank you, Mindy, for inviting me to come and join you for an open and honest conversation in challenging times. That's really wonderful. You've probably heard me say this before, but as a coach, as a counselor, I sort of tell my clients that my corny way of introducing myself is my name phonetically. It sounds like it's Cheryl Storey, but Cheryl sounds in English like share all your story. What is going on here that you're struggling with, that's causing you anxiety, that's burning you out, that might even be triggering panic attacks? Yeah, so that we can, help you problem solve. So that would probably be the only other thing I might, because it's just that corny part of me that
I love it. I really love it. Amazing. Now, Cheryl, how did you become an expert in your field?
I became an expert because at 26, I had what I now call a breakdown in order to break through to, parts of myself and life and personal empowerment, and even I would say, inner peace. Like, when you kind of discover who you are, it's the calm at the center of the storm.
Yes.
The calm at the center of the storm. We are literally 100%. We hear this word responsible in our world. Oh my gosh, more responsibilities. Right? But actually, from a storytelling point of view, the word responsible literally looks like, again, in English, response plus the word able.
Yes.
Able to respond to intense, immense stress. Right?
Yes.
To respond versus react.
Mm-hmm.
Because this stuff is, and you're talking a war in the Ukraine. I mean, that's pretty darn stressful. Like
Mm-hmm.
your job, your livelihood, like so many things that are basically they're conditions for pre-trauma, which is like lack of predictability,
Exactly.
freedom of movement. Like can I go here? Can I go there? What's going to happen? There's so many stresses, the stress on marriages, the stress on families. There's so many stresses that have come out of the current world situation. So we really do need mentoring, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yes.
We deserve it. We deserve it. All of us. That to come, how do I kind of come back to center in the midst of chaos? Like, how do I continue to, expand as a human safely during extreme times?
Yes.
Right? How do I stay safe? How do I stay centered? How do I continue to grow through extreme times? I used to have a picture on my iPhone 4, so it was a while ago, that was a NASA photograph of, at the time, it was the largest hurricane ever recorded.
Mm-hmm.
It was also the stillest center. They were completely relative to each other, which I just find absolutely fascinating. That, when things are so spinning and so fast and so unpredictable, it motivates us in a way, because how much in my own life, how much instability, how much anxiety am I willing to live with before I decide I need to do this differently? Yeah. I need to tune in, because I can't control any of that in front of my eyes. I need to start to pay attention behind my eyes.
Yes.
And we come with a user manual. That's the thing. Life made us. We come with the user manual, but we will find it behind our eyes. And we need to learn that it's safe actually to slow down and get quiet. Like the turtle wins the race, remember, in all the fables?
Yes.
So yeah, it's a topic I get very excited about.
Yeah.
Because when I had panic attacks, my world fell apart.
And
I thought I was, I had a whole other life. I was in my 20s. I was being groomed to become a professor of sociology in university. And I felt like such a failure, it was just such a extreme time, right? So, and to come through it with all the gifts and learning and ongoing learning always, that's kind of what I want to share. Like I'm a nerd. So I'm always, paying attention to the latest and joining courses, meeting great people like you that are curious, exploring and learning that I really did need to, I meditate every morning now for some years and, and just like learning that it's actually a gift to be alive. Like life is not a problem to be solved, but when you're having panic attacks, anxiety, extremely, when you're burnt out, it's like, I always think like burnout is almost a dumb word because when people are burnt out, it steals their confidence. It's like literally, it steals their confidence, it steals their joy, it steals their motivation, it steals their life force. Literally, like people
like basically taking out your soul out of your body, right?
Yes, exactly. And so it's like, I think of it now, I would describe it as an initiation. That for me, it was a path of initiation that, my body and anyone that I speak to now, it's like your body and your psyche just stop. Like they just like, whether, I have one more thing to do, I have one more thing to do, I have one more thing to do, but I can't, I should, I have to, I must. And we've been raised like that. Like
almost like being in that hamster wheel, right? It's like going on and on, but you're not going anywhere.
And you don't know how to get off because you don't know you can, and we've been taught busy's good, must, have to, got to, right? And it's exactly the opposite. So when you have like for myself, it was panic attacks. I didn't know what they were. I thought I was just going crazy and like I didn't know what was happening. It didn't have a name, until
back in those days, probably not.
Yeah, some years ago, right? Like no, it did not. Like so, it took a while to get it, and once it had a name, I just went, oh, good, I'm not the only one. That relaxed, and yeah, so how I become an expert, and then once I turn towards because my body said, and this is what happens with anyone that experiences burnout,
Mhm.
extreme anxiety and or panic attacks, your body, your psyche just says, stop. Your body's telling you can no longer continue in familiar ways.
Mhm.
These
Mhm.
were great patterns so far,
Mhm.
but they're not serving you right now.
Yeah.
And so that's the breakdown part, which is terrifying for most people, because especially most people I meet, honestly, that have panic and anxiety, they're really smart, creative, amazing, good people.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
you know,
But it's probably because they're going into the unknown, right? So it's an unknown territory for them, moving towards
the fear of you feel
yeah.
like you've lost all control. Like you literally have, in a way, lost all control, but you haven't lost all control. You've lost kind of control that to continue in familiar ways. But the brain is wired, right, to gravitate towards the familiar, even if the familiar is no longer serving you, and it wants to really resist the unfamiliar. So that's why we kind of get in this stuck place. But I really want people to know the breakdown part is literally initiation to break through. But it is an initiation. Nobody wants to go through that.
No,
Nobody.
because it's scary, right? It's
Very
because your
scary.
body is so used to the known, and at that stage you need to go to the unknown. It's like, yeah, what's happening? We've been doing this for 30, 45, 50 years, 50 years. What are we doing here?
So that makes me think of a story, because yes, I was terrified of the unknown, because it feels like it's going to be dangerous. Because that's how we're wired. But then if you think of the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, it's an old comedy movie. What would it actually be like to know what was going to happen every single moment of every single day? Like that movie, the same day, it's over
You
and
feel
over.
like stuck.
You feel stuck. So, opening up to the unknown is opening up to like exploration and discovery. And then people like you, Mindy, like you come in when you're opening up to the new. I never would have met you, right? Like I never would have met you. And where there's an ocean between us.
Yes, indeed.
There's an ocean between us. And the universe did its little thing because we were opening to the unfamiliar. We met in that masterclass, right? So we were both curious, and through our curiosity, so we break down. I feel that, and it's like a decision someone makes.
Yeah.
And everyone will make that decision, and it's not a judgment. It's just that you just hope and you wish, and that's our job, is to invite people that there's more than what this appears right now.
Yes.
There's more possibilities than what you can see right now.
That's true. And the thing is, I honestly think that, people can wait until something happens and then change, or they can say, you know what, I feel that there's something going on and I might need help. And then just say, okay, you know what, let me look into this. And then, don't wait until something happens to them. And then just take like precaution.
Like learning to identify those stressors and burnout at a 2 instead of a 10.
Exactly. That's true. Totally true. Cheryl, the next questions. So what do you specialize? I know you touched base on a little bit about that, but what do you specialize as a coach?
Well, it's funny because through the anxiety, through the burnout, I feel I specialize in helping people remember, like literally remember their joy, that you actually came with everything you need, but that joy. And then you're talking panic attacks. What do you mean joy? I can't feel anything other than fear right now, and I can't control anything. And it's so scary out there. And I love meeting people in that place of that no control, fear, shut down, don't know what to do, stuck. and the place of absolute, like you came with everything you need. So like there is this place, this space inside of you at your core. You already came with everything you need. So I love kind of helping to be a bit of a bridge between these kind of these possibilities that, you know, there's more than fear here, but you know, it's kind of, you know, there's a treasure box inside of you, and you hold the key. My job is to help you use the key, you know, but we got to baby step sometimes, because like you say, when we get a lot of people with my experience with panic and anxiety, like the joke is, gosh forbid you ever need a lawyer. But if you do, you always want one that experiences anxiety because they are going to look at every possible contingency. Oh, what about this case? What about that precedent? What about blah, 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 blah. That's a positive use of anxiety. See, that's a positive use of anxiety. So I just lost my train of thought. I went into my spin out and mental pause.
I love it, because the thing is, then people can understand as well. They can use that instead of, you know, thinking that it's a negative thing also, that they can use a positive. They can use one part of it and look into all the different possibilities, whether it's negative or positive.
Exactly. Well, years ago, I never would have wished panic attacks on my worst enemy. Like, honestly, it was that debilitating. And it stole my confidence because, you know, it stole my confidence. And I did it again. You know, it did. It stole my confidence, but I ended up writing an article, and now I'm working on a book, my memoir, and it's using the title of the old article that I wrote, and it's called The Gift of Panic. So whoever would imagine that your worst enemy, awfulest, horriblest, you know, it's basically soul-sucking experience, because it did. It stole my energy, my confidence, absolutely everything for a time, right? I didn't recognize myself. And again, I felt very humiliated, you know, and that part was also very hard. So I'm very aware of that, because most people that, you know, if they've reached the point their anxiety has gone to panic attacks. And then there's a lot of coaches and therapists that are really uncomfortable with panic attacks. I am not. I've had people sit in front of me in full-blown panic attacks, and it's fine. I know I feel quite confident and comfortable. Not that every person has to have that extreme of an experience, but just that it's possible to be met very calmly, very safely, and for them to feel safety in a moment of extreme anxiety is, for me, like, that's a beautiful gift to share with someone when they take a breath in a place they haven't taken a breath in a long time. It's like,
that's exactly what I say to my clients all the time. Before we start with anything, you know, before we start looking into the vision, into the goals, into what they want to do, is just breathe. Just start with this breathing exercise, and then with a guided meditation where they can relax and calm their body and mind. Just calm down the nervous systems, right? Because when you are calm, then you feel safe. And then when you feel safe, that's the moment that you will take action as well. Because otherwise, one would be so overwhelmed with so many things going on. And then at the end, they won't take any action.
They can't, because your upstairs brain, right? You're
like safety. It's you want to be safe.
You want to be safe, and like your upstairs brain, like, you know, like the thinking brain gets unplugged because survival brain just kicked in, the downstairs brain, which is big emotions, and it does not process details, or it's fight, like you said already, it's fight, flight, freeze. That's it.
Emotions takes over, and then that's it.
Yeah, shuts down everything. But your upstairs brain, so the breath is like, to me, plugging the supercomputer back online. You know, just starting with one breath out, just to plug, like the reset button is blow one candle out or 100 candles out, just to empty reset.
How about you give us like an example of how it actually looks like?
That's great.
For our viewers, so that they can like just calm down a little bit and then
Hey, viewers.
afterwards look into, further on the interview.
Awesome. And I want to just say one thing, why I always start whatever I'm doing with the client with breath, one breath out, is because often, I know it happened to me, and over the years, so many people that have had anxiety attacks and panic attacks, well-meaning people tell them, well, just take a deep breath. And they go, but I can't. I'm different than everyone. It doesn't work for me because our lungs are full. When we're stressed, we contract, and our breath, it's full in there, but we don't even know that. And then somebody that means very well, medical people, other coaches, other therapists. So it's really great just to remember the idea of, so I'm going to invite you all now with me. On the count of 3, let's just pretend to blow some candles out. 1 candle or 100, honestly, it doesn't matter. Just empty. 1, 2, 3, out. Now it's inhale, top of the head. We're empty. We have space. And just exhale through the body and out the feet, slowly. Nice breath in, top of the head. Let's just target the shoulders and exhale them back and down. Ooh. And nice breath into the body. Exhale, settle into your body. Long exhalations. And last one. Nice breath into the body. And exhale, relax all the way into your body. Long, slow exhalation. And then just invite your breath to breathe you. Yeah. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Our dear viewers, I hope that you've enjoyed that part. So now we're going to continue with the interview. So, Cheryl, what is your mission or your goal as a coach and a counselor?
Ultimately, I want people to feel safe in their own skin, in their own thoughts, in their own emotion, in their own life, regardless of circumstances. Literally, regardless of circumstances. Be the center of that hurricane. Be the still point at the center. You know, I think of, there's an old book, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning.
Yes.
And Victor was, a middle-aged psychiatrist, and he was a Jewish man. And during the time of the Second World War, he was imprisoned at Auschwitz. Every single member of his family was murdered. People he loved and cared about were murdered. And, and he tried to escape, I think 3 times. And he came when they were liberated, he came out and apparently wrote this book in 8 days. And
he got it in his mind.
Yeah, well, because he was in this horrific set of circumstances, horrid. And so he would give sessions. That's what he knew how to do. That's how he knew how to make meaning. So here they are in the middle of, a concentration camp, and the man is sharing what he knows. So he wrote this book about the importance of meaning making as we go through. And when he got out, he spent the rest of his life teaching about just, focusing again, ability to respond regardless of circumstance. And
regardless of who, right?
Regardless of who, what, where, when, all of that. And one of his famous kind of quotations that's passed on is, even prisoners are free to choose their own thoughts. And the mind cannot tell the difference between the real and the imagined. So I always think we want that working for us. I heard this woman, I didn't listen because, I thought, okay, but I heard the periphery of the interview of this woman that was a reporter, and she was captured by Somali pirates, and she was stuck on their ship, so she was in her own kind of prison there for a long, long time. I believe it was a year or more, but anyway, she talked about using this strategy. So she talked about she would visualize a routine for herself every day. She would make breakfast. She would take a shower. She would do all these things she couldn't do. Sports athletes use it. They use it to, apparently you can even build muscle, because somebody that's had an accident that can't use their body in the way so they start with visualizing their warm-ups, they visualize their sport, they visualize as part of the recovery process. Top athletes, like they say the same areas of the brain, they'll have them visualize like on a bike, like they'll hook their brain up and they'll put a movie on of a race and have them cycle in the race actually physically, and certain areas of the brain light up, and then they'll have them remember or visualize same areas of the brain light up.
It's mind movie, right? So the visualization is a mind movie for yourself. We concentrate so much in watching Netflix and watching all these different programs and watching TikToks, while we could have easily used that moment to make our own mind movie. And that's what I always say to people as well, that you can visualize what you want to achieve. And your mind doesn't really know whether something is real or that it's just in your mind, that you're just thinking about it. That's just the way how your mind works.
And then you want that mind plugged in to present time.
Yes.
Right? Because it doesn't future pace. So whatever we're giving it.
It doesn't future pace, and and it doesn't think about the past.
Right. So we want to help the nervous system, because it's really designed to keep us safe. And it's really designed like the negative bias of the brain, right? Like our thoughts, I always share that our thoughts will jump on the worst case scenario highway first. That's what they're going to do. Now that we know this, however, we can acknowledge that. And I always think, what am I thinking? Like investigate. So what am I feeling? I'm feeling scared, overwhelmed. I'm like, and trapped and whatever I might be feeling. And then, okay, so investigate what's the story going on in my head? What am I actually thinking and believing right now? Right. And then just meet and greet every single thought that you can acknowledge, because usually they're so fast, you don't know what you're thinking. So you slow them down a little. What am I thinking? What am I believing? And then just meet and greet. Maybe that'll happen, and maybe it won't. Yes, maybe they will think that about me, and maybe they won't. Yes, maybe I'll get written up at work, or I get it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yes, that could happen, and maybe it won't. Meet and greet, meet and greet, meet and greet, meet and greet. And you're like bringing the supercomputer back online again, right?
Yeah.
And your body still may have butterflies with teeth. That's what happens to me when I'm nervous. I get butterflies with teeth. And, you still may have hot, cold, whatever your version of anxiety is. But it's like now you've acknowledged. Then now you've connected to everything you're feeling, and you've connected to everything you're thinking. And now you're able to problem solve. So what can I do? Is that all happening right now? No. No. So what can I do right here in this moment, right now? Oh, maybe I could exhale. Now, maybe I could take a breath in. What can I do? Maybe now I'm more ready. Oh, I know. I could talk to Mindy. I could reach out to Mindy. Oh, I could reach out to Cheryl. I could, then you're in a place where you're connect first, problem solve second.
Yes. Then your logical mind would be able to kick in so that you can really solve that problem indeed.
And intuitive mind, logical and
intuitive. Yes, indeed. You need to get the data, but you need to also get your intuitive mind kicking so that you can really have more informative decision, right?
Yes.
Yes.
See how anxiety and burnout can be exciting? How could that ever be?
So, Cheryl, what are the benefits in having you as a coach?
Probably the biggest one I feel is that I've been through it and come out of it, and I feel like it was a gift, believe it or not, because of all the things that changed. My career changed, everything changed, my experience of myself. I'm not living my life according to the outside in anymore. I'm living my life from the inside out. I never would have done that because, I feel like panic attacks were like, in a weird way, an initiation. If you look at your life like a quest and a journey, it's really invited me, and I invite other people, like, so let's turn towards this. Let's get curious. Like Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. There's a map, and the journey is always back to self, but your core self, your authentic self that you were born with. Mm-hmm. But sometimes there's so many experiences and,
layering on top of
layering on top of layering through a lifetime, and then current stressors, etc., that it's really hard to feel that core self. So I always just feel super excited that my like, I'm proof, you know what I mean? Like I'm proof. I feel shiny, and I want every client to know I'm not going to push their shine. Yes. Because like I'm very, very able to meet people where they're at. Like I said, full-blown panic attack. If that's where I had one client one time when I first met her, she would crawl up the stairs face planted because she was afraid to leave her house.
Wow.
So she had been through like this person and that person and whoever else before, and somehow came to learn about me. And I would always tell people, we're going to deal with panic attacks kind of through the back door. and anyway, that's the first time I met this person. She came up literally like a drive to the front stairs, like afraid to even stand on the stairs, like just that. She had literally collapsed into the panic attack. That was like one of the, like, that's kind of on one end of the continuum, right? But we want to help people also that are like at number 2. So you never have to get to that place.
Yeah.
Right. Ideally. Yeah. And so meeting people where, you're at, and knowing that there is just joy and richness and life waiting, because literally you're a piece of life. I want people, like, I can't make people do it because it's just the truth.
Yes.
The tree outside our window, that tree is exhaling oxygen so we can breathe. And we are exhaling CO2 so that tree can live. Half our lung is outside of ourselves. We are so much more than just our thoughts and just our feelings. I feel very excited to help hold a space just so people can kind of discover that on their own. Yeah. But I'm trying to create a foundation and just offer, tools, and then invite.
Yeah. So that like, they keep on discovering themselves as well.
Yes. Yes. Like you're kind of like nurturing the seeds. Like everyone comes like with everything you need inside of you, but it's like we need to become a gardener. We need to like pull the weeds and we need to tend to the roots. And when we tend to the roots and support the stem, the fruit, the flower will blossom. And I love that idea. Like I just love that idea because it just seems to be true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you in regards to that. So why is it important to actually have a coach?
Good question. I think that's a fantastic question.
Because because everybody keeps on saying, oh, there are too many coaches. Why do they need to be here? And why are there so many coaches actually at this moment? That there is, they try to get like, maybe there are too many, there's not even enough clients for a coach. So,
well, I think a good coach is like you're like one step ahead sometimes, but even if you're one step ahead, you've got something to share, you know what I mean? To pass forward to your client. And you're like, every client, every human being, we are literally wired for connection and affection. And affection shows up in different situations as maybe respect or belonging or accepted or seen, affection, but we are wired for connection, and we all need and deserve a village, right? Like a village of support. And sometimes in a village, you don't know everyone in your village, but you might seek out. We might be, I think of us as the modern day medicine men and medicine women of days old. And we're like a mentor. We're like, and I think as I get older, I hope to be doing this work until I'm, if I live into my hundreds, I'll just be getting really good, right? The more life experience, probably the fewer words and the more wisdom. I just think we all deserve a village, and everyone needs, and these are, like you started this interview with, these are extreme times, and we all need and deserve that mentoring, the teachings and tools for how do we, and first of all, is it possible? Yes. And then how do we go? Like, I think of it like an inner samurai.
Yes.
Right? Yes. How do I become that inner samurai?
Yes.
And
indeed.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a samurai would respond regardless of the kind, and they might respond. Sometimes the warrior self is appropriate, but consciously, not reactively. So a samurai might respond as a warrior in some moment, but a samurai might respond as a medicine man or a medicine woman. They may respond as the wise man or the wise woman. They may, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to respond to the situation and have much to share and pass forward to the people that we are all living in extreme times.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And there's much wisdom to share, and so everyone knows that you're actually safer than, we're actually safer. We're a piece of life, and life really knows how to do life, but we need to learn to get quiet, and we need to learn to get present.
Yes. Yes,
and,
totally.
And then when we do that, magic happens. Like, magic happens, honestly. Like, it's magic might be a strong word, I don't know, but you're able to see what
you're able to see things in a much clearer, in such a clarity that you probably don't even realize, like, hey, where did this come from, or where did this idea come from? So you're so much more clarity.
Yes, and that creates a lot of confidence and a feeling of safety and a feeling of possibility.
And the thing is, sometimes, you might not see those blind spots. I think, that you, because you might be looking into something, and because you're looking so many times into it that you don't see certain things anymore. And I think as a coach, I think a lot of the times a good coach would be able to help you out in regards to that.
Fresh perspective, fresh inspiration. Yeah. Fresh possibilities. Yes. Which is super exciting, right? When you get to share, I always think getting to share on a little, we're kind of like we're walking alongside our clients, sometimes for a little ways and sometimes for much. I have people that I've known for years now that will come and go and, and consult. And I love that, because it's so exciting when you see, like I said earlier, when you see someone take a breath in a place, even just something as simple as a breath in a spot inside of their own being that they never were able to take a breath before. Is such an amazing gift for that person. Right. And, and if you got a tool or something, a tool or something that's really life-changing for them, it's just such an exciting, wonderful, empowering medicine. It's medicine. It's like modern medicine, only it isn't something you take this way. It's something that you wake up from inside of you.
Indeed. And I know I read somewhere at a certain stage that someone said, but I can actually ask that question, that specific question that I have to my dear ones. So how would that, what are your thoughts about that? Instead of going to a coach, I can go to my family member, or I can go to a friend and then talk to them about those things. What are your thoughts actually about that?
Well, the wonderful thing about a coach, and I hear this often from clients, is because you are you are anonymous. You're not attached in any way, shape, or form to, right? Whereas a family member, or a best friend, even sometimes, like you can talk about anything, but they, that might, first of all, again, we're people that are, I call myself a nerd all the time. I am constantly like listening to, podcasts, an Audible book, talking to you, like meeting, like, I just love, this is like such a passion. So there's always fresh,
Perspective.
There's fresh perspective, and there's no, what's that word? Attachment. There's no judgment. Yeah. There's no, your attachment is
safe space for them to be able to open up, right?
Yes. That's your attachment, is to be as present as you possibly can with this, human being in front of you, and this evolving person that, like, that you're just sharing this, and that is the passion, and that is the commitment. It's and you just share, because you, like, they're going to have to discover.
Stays private.
And everything stays private. That's something that gets reviewed always at the beginning of meeting with a client, right? Confidentiality. Everything here is private and confidential. Yeah. And that is super important for people to feel safe. Yeah. And it's an honor and a privilege. And that's why, a good coach, that is not even a thought. Of course, this is private and
automatic. That's just like something that's ingrained, right? So yes.
And then people are really safe, because sometimes I find a good piece of the coaching is really making space for someone. Maybe they've never had an opportunity in their lifetime just to, like, let it out, like what's in there, like, just, and then you're going to facilitate a conversation. We're going to facilitate just to kind of see what's there, up and out. And then we can get creative together about, follow your heart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, each client comes with the wisdom in their own heart. I always tell them, you are not broken and you do not need fixing.
Yeah.
Everything you will ever need, you already have inside of your own heart. It's just, I might be hearing what you're saying, and I'm aware of possibilities that can help you hear the wisdom of your own heart. And we could identify next steps and, dreams and whatever it is.
Yeah. So that you can start taking that action, right?
Yes. Yeah. Without feeling it, it's not an action that is, because so much of our world is action oriented, based on must, have to, got to, have to, must, should, shouldn't. Like, these are the motivating forces for action. And we want to help people hear that, the wisdom of their heart will guide you, and we will help you put that wisdom into action.
Yes. Amen to that, Cheryl. Amen to that.
Into that, sister.
Or namaste.
Yes.
Okay, Cheryl. So who do you help and why?
Well, in my work, I get everybody, women, men, and professionals of all stripes. And that I seem to attract. I always think, we're like, 10 steps ahead of the population we work with, right? We get natural kind of attraction. So I tend to work with men and women and professionals of all stripes who are literally struggling at the moment that they're reaching out often. With panic, anxiety, and burnout. Like, literally, those are the main things. And then what you find out, though, is that the stress, anxiety is sometimes related to other things. Like, just yesterday, I had 2 professional colleagues come. And because one of those colleagues was really having anxiety to a degree that was, they felt that they were having a hard time regulating their emotions at work, and it was kind of affecting confidence and then what to do. And they're, so that was wonderful. So I got to work with these two professionals, like, and just talking a lot about what we just talked about in a framework that suited the circumstance.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because somebody's coming with panic attacks and anxiety because there's unacknowledged grief. like the pandemic has brought up so much grief, because the grief, some people did lose people. Some people were afraid of losing and they couldn't go to the hospital, or they couldn't go to a long-term care facility. They couldn't actually be with their person. So there's, even if their person lived, there's still a lot of grief. Also, people I've had, you mentioned the war, like I'm in overseas, and still I have had clients come because, in Canada, I'm in Canada, and Canada is it's people from all over the world.
Yeah.
So there's many Russian, Ukrainian, Eastern European that are all in that area, people, and a totally heartbroken, like just heartbroken. And then it becomes, for some, they start to feel they don't have control, and they're fearing the worst, and for themselves here or their family there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the economy, like there's just so many faces or sources that anxiety will come out, that the burnout that people just have been giving and working and trying and giving and working, because with that push attitude that our culture, rather than the inside out, which is the calm at the center of the storm, we're taught to try to manage the hurricane, and we wonder why we're tired and having anxiety attacks.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, one of the things that you touch base about in terms of grief, I mean, when someone leaves their job after working so long at a certain in a certain company, or when they're being fired, it's also people also actually grieve, but they don't recognize that is also grief.
That is definitely grief. Our culture generally, I find in the Western world, European, North American, we do not acknowledge, like we don't do grief. We don't. So I heard this Lakota man say once, indigenous man from the Lakota Nation, and he's like, "You people, you don't do grief. You don't do death." He said, we talk about it our whole lives. So, they're just talking about a person, but it's true with a job. It's just, we don't deal with it at all, even when you lose a person. So he said, we tell the little ones, where did my mom go, say, or my grandma go? He says, we tell them they went here. And tell them they went here. We tell them they went here. And then we tell them it hurts because they're not here. Right? And he started hugging the empty air. And I was like, wow, that's so cool, because we get nothing. Like, seriously, you leave a job, yes, a company is bought out by somebody, and somebody that's literally given, 20, 25 years, or there's, there's pressure to, I worked with somebody once that the company had been bought out more by, like, I guess a hedge fund or something. So they their whole life they've been succeeding and inspiring. And now they were supposed to go around the world and help companies fail, because it was going to profit the overall hedge fund or whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not the financial person, but and they were just having panic attacks because they couldn't, what are they asking? My whole life, I've spent like 25 years doing, right? So we help people turn towards it, right? Turn towards it, let's come into the center of the storm, and and listen to your next steps. And what is it that you're dreaming? What is it that what is it that you're what is it, why were you in that job all those years? If, like, what did you have, like a retirement plan? What's your vision? Let's start, what's your vision, and how, let's take a look. It might not, you might not see it in familiar ways, but it's still there. Calling you. Life is calling you.
Now that you're saying calling, Cheryl, I can really see that this is your calling, right? So this is so your thing, where
it is.
That you feel like, you don't have any other choice, but that's your thing.
That's why I'm here. I was called onto this path. I never would have chosen this path for $100 million. And yet I'm so, so, so grateful at, honest to goodness, that I'm absolutely clear. This is why I'm here and what I'm here to share. So thank you for saying that. find it true. I don't think about
It's
it
your
always,
gift.
you know.
It's your gift to this planet. Really, it's your gift to this planet.
It's irony, eh? Isn't it funny how our gifts come out of such ironic circumstances?
It works in a circle. Yeah.
Nice.
Cheryl, how can people get in touch with you afterwards? And do you coach people also online and or in person? Does it need to be on? And also, where can people contact you?
Right currently, yes, I'd love to hear from people, you know. Probably the easiest is like, you know, Messenger, Cheryl Storey, Facebook Messenger, Facebook. I have a business page. So far, it's focused on the word counseling. You know, I haven't used the word coaching on that particular page, but it's still there and it's being updated. Everything's being updated because my website is, you know, I'm not a techie, so it's years old. So I'm just in the process of coming into 2022, but it is there, you know, and WhatsApp is always good too, you know, with, that's a good one, 613-847-3962. And I think it's 01 for Canada.
Yeah.
CherylStorey.com, but Messenger and Facebook are really easy, I think, for people, like, to start, you know, just to start.
Yeah, what I'll do is like after this interview, I will link the information in the comment below. Then everybody would be able to see all your details and in case if they want to contact you
Thank you,
after
Mindy.
this interview. So my last question to close off this interview, Cheryl, what would you say to your younger self now that you're younger and much wiser?
Oh boy. The first thing I do, I just want to wrap my arms around her, first of all. And I would just tell her, oh my goodness, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you. And things are not as life or death, all or nothing as they feel. Honest to goodness. You know, like things are not, you know, whether this girlfriend got mad at you and the boy didn't call or you know, whatever, you know, you got a grade you didn't expect on your test. Like, it's honest to goodness, like it's so not, you're enough. I would say to her, you are enough. You do enough. You love enough, you have enough, you give enough, you are beautiful. Your best is good enough. Your best is good enough. And I just wrap my arms around her and hug her, and tell her that she has me now. She has a grown-up version of me now that she can, you know, that part of my nervous system can reach out to.
Yeah. Oh, amazing, amazing, beautiful. Yes, I think we need to say that to ourselves enough times. You are enough.
You are enough. Yes, we are, Mindy. You are enough.
Yes, yes. Every day in the mirror. Every day.
Yes, every day in the mirror. I'm enough. And you know what? I joke with people sometimes. I say, look in the mirror and say, oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. You are loved and you are safe. I've got your back.
Yes.
I've got you into forever and beyond because I'm the one that can. You are awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very, very good one. I think we should do that every single day. Or I'm doing it every single day.
Yeah. Okay, me too.
All right. So Cheryl, is there any last word that you want to say before I wrap this interview up?
Just to reiterate, one breath out. That starts everything. That's that you've just planted a seed of hope because you've just acknowledged. You feel I feel overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I feel like I don't have any control. You just took control when you just sometimes that's all you can do. Circumstances are such. The breathing in will take care of itself. I promise you. Now you've made space, fresh inspiration. Exhale. As soon as you exhale, you've just expressed yourself into the world. That's one last thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. It is so beautiful. All right, my dear viewers, I hope that you have enjoyed this interview with Cheryl Storey. I just think that she is very inspiring and then also amazing. So now one of the things that me and Cheryl, or Cheryl and me, want to know from you, what are your biggest takeaway from this interview? And let us know in the comment box below. And we wish you all a fantastic week and bong simang to you all. Until the next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.